Okay, today is February 19th, 2023. It's at 11 o'clock in the morning, and I just want to spell this out. I gathered some recent video clips off of some news reports. And if you remember, in September of 2020, I have been saying that FITS, Friends in the Sky, told us that world as we know it's going to end in 3 to 4 years from now, which is 3 to 4 years from 2020. So in 2023 or 2024, that world as we know it's going to end. That our air and our water supply is going to be contaminated to the point where we have to wear masks to breathe, and we have to drink only treated water because it'll be contaminated. When I asked them, is this because we drive too many Humvees? They said, no, it's coming in the form of an attack. It's either going to be one of two countries, either Russia or China. It's going to attack us and do this to us. And now it's 2023, and I just want to show some news clippings. Remember, all this I've been saying since 2020.
There is open source reporting that Chinese companies are providing surveillance equipment to that mercenary group, the Wagner group, fighting in Ukraine. Does the U.S. consider this to be providing military support to Russia?
We've been concerned from day one about that possibility. In fact, if you go back to the very first conversations that President Biden and President Xi had about Russia's war of aggression against Ukraine, just a couple of weeks into the war, President Biden shared with President Xi our deep concern about the possibility China would provide lethal support to Russia in this effort, as well as engage in the systematic evasion of sanctions. And the reason for that to Russia for use in Ukraine. The concern that we have now is based on information we have that they're considering providing lethal support.
Lethal support. What would that entail? What do you think of?
Weapons.
That's ammunition. That's
primarily weapons.
Some debris from the downed Chinese spy balloon is now being examined by U.S. military forensics teams.
See the smoke coming from it?
As China threatens to retaliate. In a statement, China.
So we don't know what escaped from that balloon when it was shot down. You can see what looks like smoke from maybe helium that was released, but we have no idea what was released into the atmosphere when that balloon was shot down.
Clearly, this was an attempt by China to gather information to defeat our command and control of our sensitive missile defense and nuclear weapon sites.
It was first detected north of the Aleutian Islands on January 28th.
He allowed a full week for the Chinese to conduct spying operations over the United States, over sensitive military installations.
U.S.-China relations are already strained.
It showed the extent of China's spying program and what they're willing to do to gather intelligence from the United States.
The military jets shot down the surveillance balloon off the coast of South Carolina Saturday afternoon. Debris from the balloon spread across 11 kilometers.
Is distancing itself right now from a memo by a U.S. Air Force general which warns about potential war with China within the next 2 years. In fact, it predicts as much.
So then what could a war with China look like?
It's National Day in Taiwan. Outside the presidential palace in Taipei, this is more than just a parade. It's a show of defiance against an existential threat. China's military has just mounted its biggest show of force in a generation. A test run for a blockade or even invasion of Taiwan.
我们坚持以最大诚意，尽最大努力，争取和平统一的前景，但绝不承诺放弃使用武力。
The US is preparing for conflict in this strategically critical region, with Joe Biden saying America would come to Taiwan's defense, and that would mean a very big war.
The escalation would almost be immediate. A general war involving at least 3 or 4 countries, including the 3 largest economies in the world.
In a time already shaken by conflict in Europe, this would plunge the world into a crisis of historic proportions.
In this video, rattling against Taiwan in recent weeks, including military flights near the island and landing drills across the sea.
Chinese soldiers train for the invasion of Taiwan. A new propaganda video shows an amphibious assault. Beijing says this training exercise targets Taiwan independence and interference by external forces like the U.S. A warning: Taiwan's defense minister says China could launch a full-scale war by 2025.
Story: China's President Xi Jinping making a veiled threat against the United States, warning that his country will not be bullied by foreign adversaries, saying that any threats would be met with a, quote, Great Wall of Steel.
He said this: the Chinese people have never bullied, oppressed, or enslaved the people of other countries. At the same time, the Chinese people will never allow any foreign forces to bully, oppress, or enslave us. Anyone who dares to try to do that will have their heads bashed bloody against a Great Wall of Steel forged by over 1.4 billion Chinese people.
Okay, I'm doing the absolute best I can, in the best way I know how, in the most transparent way I know how, to show how all this is taking place that we've been saying since September of 2020. Now realize, please understand, this is not a prediction. A prediction comes from human calculation. This is not from human calculation. This is going to happen. I don't know how it gets to that point, but everything that's been happening is a lead up to us being attacked. This is going to be an attack, and it's going to be a worldwide event that's going to happen. And I don't know exactly how it's going to go down, but I know it's going down, and it is coming soon. Within the next, no later. I'm given the most outrageous possibility of maybe 2 years at max. We have a lot less time than that, folks. And there's nothing we can do about it. I asked Fitz, what can we do to stop this? They said nothing. It would take a worldwide change, and then they stopped what they were saying and said, no, not even that. It's going to happen. And the point of no return was the advent of COVID-19. That was the point of no return. So that's all I can do, folks. Listen to me. We don't have much time.